Hi guys, today I want to share with you one of ICT's powerful trading model, and it's called the ICT breaker. The ICT breaker is a powerful trading concept that once you see it happening in the marketplace, 75% of the times it's going to work because it's a high probability trading setup. It may not occur frequently, but once you see it happening, once you see it playing out on your chart, be rest assured that it will most likely play out. So the ICT breaker is one of the 7 institutional reference points as taught by ICT, popularly called PDRAs, and I want you to know that in their order of importance, the breaker block is the second in its order of importance. There are 7 institutional reference points as taught by ICT. If you are still confused about how to use them and how to identify them, just go to the videos on this handle and you're going to find out a video I did on the 7 institutional reference points as taught by ICT. But for a recap, I'm going to mention all the 7, then we dive into the model I'm about to share with you. There are 7 institutional reference points as taught by ICT. The first is the mitigation block, second is breaker, next is liquidity void, then the fair value gap, then the other block. You see that the other block is number 5 in its order of importance. Most people only focus on the other block, especially most smart money concept traders. They only focus on order block and fair value gap, but order block and fair value gap is not even number 1, it's not number 2, it's not even number 3. You see that first is mitigation block, second is breaker block, next is liquidity void, then the fair value gap, then the order block, then rejection blocks, and last is the old highs and the old lows. So let's quickly look at this model using the breaker block. So the ICT breaker is usually 2 types. We have the bullish breaker and the bearish breaker. So we're going to learn how to identify these 2 types of breaker blocks. The first I mentioned, it's the bearish breaker. So the bearish breaker is a chart pattern where we see price action, sweep liquidity above an old high. There has to be liquidity taken above an old high before the shift of market structure bullish. Once we see this happen, then we can say that this is typical of an ICT. This is typical of an ICT breaker. Remember, first I said there has to be liquidity taken above an old high, then shift of market structure bearish. That is a bearish breaker. Once price action trades up into the breaker, then we can sell into the next draw on liquidity. So where exactly is the breaker block? The breaker block is the last order block that was violated here, the last bullish order block that was violated. Technically, you can also call this support turn resistance. You see that the last order block that was violated here after liquidity taken gives us the breaker block. Then let's look at what a bullish breaker looks like. Bullish breaker, on the contrary, is liquidity taken on the lower end. There has to be a sweep on liquidity below an old low. Then shift of market structure bullish. Once we see price action returned into the previous order block that was violated there, then we can say that is a bullish breaker. You see that? That is a bullish breaker. So the model I'm about to share with you is a model that trades in between one breaker to the next breaker, or this breaker to the next breaker. So the first thing we need to do is to identify a current breaker block that is happening or forming in the marketplace. So once we see price action takes our liquidity above, then creates shift of market structure bearish, we need to identify and ensure that there is an opposing breaker block on the other end. We must ensure that there is an opposing breaker block on the other end. There must be an opposing breaker block on the other end. You see that? So now we have a current bearish breaker that was created around this level, assuming that this is a bearish breaker because price had taken liquidity above that high. Then it has given us shift of market structure bearish. You see that? So we'll anticipate to see price action trade back into that breaker block, but before that we need to ensure that there's a breaker block on the opposing end. So let's take a look at it. We can see that right here also price took out the low, then gave us a shift of market structure bullish. So we have a bullish breaker right here on the opposing end. This qualifies this trading model. Then we can sell as price returns into the breaker and target the next breaker block as the drawn liquidity. That is just what the model is all about. In the same way, if we see price action create a bullish breaker right here, we need to check the opposing end to ensure that there's a bearish breaker above, which we have one here. Then as price returns into the bullish breaker, we buy into the next bearish breaker. So let's quickly look at the chart if we can see one or two examples. Then I'll leave you guys to go and do hindsight study, find it yourself, train your eyes to see these things. So on the 21st of July, I think so, we see that price action created something similar to what I'm about to show you guys, and it's very powerful. You can see that this is the Euro USD chart 50-minute time frame. This pattern happens on every time frame, and for every time frame you see this happening is the time frame you will treat it at. Okay, if you are doing this on the 1 minute or 5 minutes time frame, that will be a scalping model. If you are doing this on the 15 minutes, that is a day trade setup. 15 minutes and 1 hour, it's a day trade setup. And if you see this chart pattern happening on the 4 hour or the daily time frame, be rest assured that is a swing trading model for you. All right, so we see that this happened. Price action traded above the previous high here, the relative equal high. Then price action gave us shift of market structure bearish, thereby creating the breaker block. You see that all of this created the breaker block at the time that the body of the candle closes below that low. We had a bearish breaker. Then for us to qualify this trading model, we need to check, do we have an opposing bullish breaker? Then let's check and see. You can see all of this level, all of this is liquidity, low resistance liquidity run, an old low. Then below that old low we have a bullish breaker. This is the draw on liquidity. Price took out that low before the shift of structure. You see that? So now we have a current bearish breaker and we have an opposing bullish breaker, which qualifies this trading model and makes it a high probability setup. What are we going to do? We are going to execute once price returns into that bearish breaker and target the next or opposing bullish breaker. So we can see that right here we have confluence of the bearish breaker with the bearish order block. It makes it high probability. The bearish breaker in its order of importance, remember, is the second. Then we have what? We have a bearish order block attached to it. So as price returns into the bearish order block, I'm going to sell and target the opposing bullish breaker, which is exactly what we did. And look at this. If you put a sell right there with your stop loss above the bearish order block and target the opposing bullish breaker, you can see that model played out very effectively and very easy. Very easy. But remember, once you see a breaker happening, there has to be an opposing breaker to qualify this model. Let's check if we can find something similar. Yes, we can find previous setup also. Look at this. Price action did something similar, took our liquidity above that high, shift of market structure bearish that created the bearish breaker. Then for us to qualify this, we need to check, do we have an opposing breaker? Yes, we do. We had an opposing bullish breaker right here. Price took out the low, shift of market structure bullish. Now we have a bearish breaker. What is the next target? Bullish breaker. Did you see that? From one breaker to the next breaker, it's a powerful trading concept. Guys, I need you guys to train your eyes to see these things. Go to your chart in hindsight. Look for these setups until you can train your eyes to clearly see these things. Until you can train your eyes to clearly see these things. Let me know what you learn or feel about this video in the comment section. Make sure that you do the hindsight, do the homework, and let me know if you learned something from this video. Don't forget to hit the subscription button and turn up your notification bell so you stay updated every time I post a video. And if you want to join our private mentorship, myself and Solomon King, you can just check the link in the description of the video. You're going to find the link to the Elite Traders community where you can have access to premium trading models and also our weekly commentaries and as well our trade setups for the week. You're going to find it in the mentorship community. Just click the link in the description of the video. And if you have personal questions regarding trading, you can hit the link also to reach out to me on my personal DM, and I'm going to attend to you guys. So in the next video, I'm going to show you an example of a bullish breaker setup in the next video. Until next time, I wish you good luck, good trading. Stay safe.